Wow, good morning. This is another edition of Dialogue Box. So you are welcome to our discussion this morning on different aspects of nation building. But today we are looking at the security angle, how we can improve on that, because we have a country that is bedeviled by different acts of terrorism, criminal acts, banditry, just name it, gang, carrying out different acts of violence. So we have several of such. So this morning we are going to look at tackling the security system or the security challenge that we are currently facing as a nation. The question is, what should be the way forward? So we'll look at it from the angle of you as an analyst and everyone out there. Then we also have some experts that will be calling us, and also they will give us their take on what the government should do in improving the security situation right now. So we have we'll give you a background onto how and what is happening in the country right now, but especially in the northern region. The northern region has been having a lot of issues. So according to analyst Ghazali Al-Mustapha, it is now a common sight for governors to sprint to Abuja to seek respite each time there's a perceived security breach in their respective states. So in their customary pattern, the governors are billed to meet with President Muhammadu Buhari, that's tomorrow on Tuesday, during the National Security Council meeting. So the planned gathering has drawn concern from across board, especially after the attack on the convoy of Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State. He was said to be on his way back after distributing relief items for internally displaced persons. So now the question is, with these ongoing security challenges in the northern region, which is also throwing a dark shadow in other parts of the country, the question is, what is the way forward in tackling these security challenges stemming from the northern region? So these and more in today's edition of Dialogue Box. We'd like you to send in your comments and also call us. Let us know what you think should be the way forward. Is it a challenge that has come to stay? Is there no solution in sight? And what more can the government do, and even individuals do, to see to it that that current issue is being tackled and we can see that there's an end in sight? So we'd like you to call in on 090-5252-5107. Then you can also call on 08030887339. And when you call in, you can also send in your comments, what you think about the situation. You can send us a message and let us know what you think. Now, while you are doing that, we would like you to do that immediately, but we'll also give you some more background information. We have it that there have been claims of an attempt by insurgents to take over Borno State capital, Maiduguri, in addition to the security challenges in Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna, Niger State, Plateau, and Benue states. So these are states that are currently having lots of banditry, abductions, and cattle rustling, which has become rife in most of these states. And the Kaduna South security issue is also lingering. Several issues around killings. We had a recent one where 21 people were said to have been shot dead in a current crisis in that southern part of Kaduna, and is now assuming more concerns from within and outside the country as to what should be the way forward in tackling this. Then we also have issues that have to do with forces that are trying to paint a gory picture depicting that the insecurity has to do with the ineffective acts or the act of carrying out the service by the service chiefs in the country. So they've reported to the president severally that most of them don't know, or they are not up to the task, and they should be either set aside, asked to resign or whatever. So the president, by involving relevant stakeholders like the governors and other political appointees for the meetings he has had, he has shown that, according to him, that he understands the issues beyond a single narrative and is willing to interrogate the situation at appropriate quarters. So while this is going on, the Ohanese Youth Assembly, that's Oya, has thrown its weight behind the Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi over his call to the president for the retention of performing service chiefs. So the Southeast Youth said it aligned with the governor as his recommendation is without any bias and it remains the best so far in the country. That's according to them. So speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Nigerian Army Reference Hospital in Abakaliki on Friday last week, Umahi has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to increase funding to the army and other logistics to the Nigerian army rather than contemplating sacking the service chiefs. So this is an angle from the Ohanese Youth Forum and what they think should be the way forward. They believe that what the governor of Ebonyi State has asked the president to do is the best so far, that instead of sacking the service chiefs, they should be given more funds to give them maybe means to more equipment or whatever else they need in seeing to a more effective way of dispensing the task assigned to them in securing the northern region and every other part of the country. Then on their own part, the northern governors are said to have exhibited despondency and other cluelessness whenever security issues arise. And they always, according to analysts, hide under the fabric of the fact that they do not control security agencies and that the mandate falls on the federal government to address such problems. So doing so, they contemplate ignoring the fact that as chief executives of their specific states, they constitute the first-time defense with the assigned roles that they have been given in ensuring the security and well-being of the citizens in their respective states. So with all of this, the northern governors by themselves, even though they have a forum, there was a time they took some earlier measures in 2017 in resolving to accept the recommendations of the body of attorneys. So we have a call now. We'll just take this call and continue from here. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Dialogue Box on BlossomNigeria.
Good morning.
Okay, sir. Your name and where you are calling from?
I'm Oluwashino, calling from Lagos.
Okay, you are welcome, sir. Now, your thoughts on the security issue and what you think should be the way forward, either by the government or private stakeholders, whatever else can be done to improve the situation in the northern region right now.
Quickly, even though our subject this morning is in line to the northern region.
Yes, but it can still go general.
Yes, because security is a general issue in this nation. That's been the pain and menace of our society as we speak.
Okay.
Two things I would suggest is we need to critically look at our system, our security system, and as a nation, we need to invite a security conference or congress as it may be called to look at the structure and the dynamics of our security setup.
Okay.
That's one thing to do. Then two, we also need to consider urgently the local police.
Okay.
The system that we have now has shown and has proven that they cannot handle the demand, the security demand of the nation. Nigeria is one of the most populated black nations in the world.
Yeah.
And the number of police or the security arms and enforcement agencies that we have are not doing enough to cope with the security problems that we have. So I'm suggesting I'm doing the line of us looking at. I think this will also be discussed at the security conference that should be called for.
Okay.
But the security, local policing, I want to commend the Western region for the Amateco. I pray that they will not be politicized.
Okay.
The objective of that security setup will be achieved.
So is it supposed to be like state policing?
State policing, yes.
Okay.
State policing, that is local policing. Like we have in other advanced world.
Yeah.
Like in America, every state has its own police.
Yeah.
You know my point? And it's only some figures that the FBI has to step in, or the CIA. So we think of something like that for our nation, because when we have that, everybody would know the people. Everybody knows everybody. Communal policing too. Because the state policing will help in the communal policing, which will help in, because if I know you, if I know you, you'll be hesitant in perpetrating evil all time. So that is it. So that is my suggestion this morning.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. But what about the terrorism issue that is still like beyond the state policing? Let's take it from that angle. Let's see it as more of a military assignment. What do you think about that?
Military assignment. That's why I said that the structure. When you talk about structure, I talk about the officers. They might need to be appraised and overhauled completely. That is the issue, because I think one of the major highlights or agenda of the present administration is curbing corruption and fighting terrorism.
Okay.
And yes, that is the major agenda. And up to now, 6 years or 7 years into the administration, nothing much has been achieved. So they need to sit down, review, look at what they have done, what they have not done right, and take it from there.
Okay, all right. That's
the military setup. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's noted. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, now. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so with the point raised by our caller, we have it that the state policing, that's local policing, according to him, is the best option, and that the nation will need to have a conference to address that, like a security conference, to address some of these issues, because a lot of them he believes they are like part of the structure, and the structure needs to be overhauled. So if that is the case, so that means a lot is dependent on the federal government right now to do much more than just sending maybe the army to try to quell down some form of uprisings and the rest. So we will just continue with this, but like we said, send us your comments and your opinion on this, and give you a little more background on what is going on right now. We were saying that earlier, the Northern Governors Forum have taken measures like resolving to accept recommendations of the body of Attorney Generals of the 19th northern states to domesticate the model panel, or penal rather, and fiscal responsibility of criminal justice law through the necessary legislative actions by subjecting them to individual peculiarities of the states. So in other words, each state might have its own peculiar challenges, so they may not use a general law or measure that might go through all of the states at the same time because of the peculiarities of the states. So they also identified some of the factors that make the security situation in the region intractable to the porous borders, which they say allow criminal elements to move freely within the West African sub-region. Then they also identified access to arms through the black market and the lack of strong legal framework to address some of these issues. Then the governors also went further, admitting that the huge forests in the northern region allow bandits to easily move from place to place, making it difficult to engage them in a direct combat. So it's a very key point that has been raised, but they have also unanimously agreed that the military has been overtasked. According to them, they've been overtasked, and with the task of ensuring adequate security, as they were in operation in almost all the parts of the country, this underscores the fact that the issues are beyond what combat operations alone can handle. So with all of this, we can see that more is expected, both from the state government, from the federal government, and even from different parts of the communities, because we see that a lot is demanded when people are directly involved in securing their communities. Let's quickly take some comments here before we continue. We have it from Savior Nduka. Says, good morning, BlossomNigeria. Illiteracy has been a bane in our political system and has contributed greatly to insecurity problem in Nigeria. The solution to this illiteracy menace is for us to overhaul our school system offer scholarship and free education. If possible, the government should provide allowance for university students. So according to Saviour, that's a major challenge for the insecurity issues that are being witnessed in the northern region. That maybe because a lot of them are not well educated, so they are easily swayed by different let's call them funny ideologies that come in maybe from the religious angle or from the political angle, and because of the lack of education, a lot of them easily fall prey to such things. So he believes that the solution to this is by giving them sound education, because a lot of them have the challenge of illiteracy. Then we also have it that from the same Saviour Onduka is saying that unemployment has also made our youths channel their intelligence and energy into negative things. So it says, just a second, it says, for us to avoid the calamity posed by unemployment, the government should declare emergency on power, education, and job creation. We should look towards the Asian tigers to copy what they did, to move their country from a third world country to the statue of emerging market and developing nation. Hello, good morning. We have a call here. Good morning.
My name is Chevy and I'm calling from Ikeja.
Okay,
government, Lagos.
Is your comment we are reading right now. So you have been the one telling us about the issue of illiteracy, unemployment, and the rest. So you are calling in. All right. Thank you so much for calling in. What's the additional take you have?
But the thing is that if you look at this insecurity problem in Nigeria, you will find out that this insecurity problem have been caused by illiteracy, because the children that the government are refusing to send to school are now becoming problems to that same government. So for us to overcome insecurity, number one, the government has to invest into the educational sector. If possible, the school should be free, because many of these are the marginaries. They cannot even afford paying PTA that they pay in Lagos. That's 500 now. So the school should be totally free. They should provide uniform for them, because it is easy to brainwash people that are not educated.
But right now, what is the current solution to, because right now a lot of them are already involved in, maybe they are being used as terrorists, some of them are being used as different forms of engaging in different forms of criminal activities. So what should be the way forward, apart from, because education is a long-term solution, but what more can the government do to address some of those crises right now? Like in Kaduna South, we have current issues where a lot of conflict is currently going on. Several people are dying by the day. So what do you think the government should do, or whatever sector should do to address that issue right now?
Okay, ma, for that, like what I've discovered is that many of them, apart from the education, many of them they are doing it because of the money they are getting from such things. So I feel the government should provide jobs, and they should provide jobs and empower our infant industries, because if these children can get if they can channel their resources, their energy into positive things, I don't know why many of them still want to fight the government. So that's just it.
Okay, so that means, but the short-term solution right now should be what?
Should be providing job opportunities.
But don't you think job is still a long-term solution? Because right now, if fighting is going on, lives are being lost by the day. Right now, we still have about 21 people that died as at Friday in Kaduna South. So what should the government do? Because some are of the opinion that the military are not handling some of these things enough. So what else should the government do to address some of those things? If you have an idea, you can quickly share with us.
Okay, ma, I'll call you back.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we have Saviour calling in, telling us that he has He knows what the government should do, but he was giving us more of the long-term solutions, which are excellent. They are good. But the question is the current issues that are going on, where every period you are hearing of maybe one crisis here and 7 people died here, 21 people died there, 14 people died there. So what else can the government do to secure lives and properties? Very, very key. So we also need you to give us your suggestions, because he has given us some excellent points. But like we said, these are like long-term ideas that we believe that even though the government should implement them with immediate effect, but they may not yield the results, the expected result immediately. So we'll still have a lot to address on that. All right, let's take this call. We have another call coming in. Hello.
Hello, BlossomNigeria.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. My name is
Just a second. You said what?
my name is Chinkwe. I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay, so what is your take on the current security issues? The security crisis raging in the northern part of Nigeria, especially the northeast region.
Okay, the issue of security, as far as I'm concerned, is a global issue.
Yeah?
It's not only peculiar to Nigeria. Every country has its own issues about security. But the one in Nigeria is really alarming and is giving us much room to be concerned about. Mm-hmm. You know, when we look at the Cameroonian, there was a time there was this issue of Cameroonian issue with Nigeria, border crisis, where over 420 civilians were killed, over 175 military were also killed, over 32,000 people dislodged, and some of them fled to Nigeria. Isn't there? Then we have the Niger Delta militia security, and then we also have the Fulani farmers and the herdsmen clash, which has been there since 2015, and more over 2,000 people have been killed. Then not to now talk about the Islamic movement of Nigeria, which was actually dislodged by the military. That was in 2016, and you know, it's been there. Now, coming about Boko Haram, I am concerned. I'm really concerned because, first and foremost, Boko Haram, they are not ghosts.
Yeah?
These people are not ghosts. They have where they live.
Okay.
They have where they stay.
Okay.
They have their hideouts. If they are not ghosts, that means the problem is half solved.
Okay.
You understand? If they are not ghosts, the problem is half solved. Now, since 2009, they've been causing menace in Nigeria. I mean, to the highest magnitude that now we have over 2.5 million people displaced. This is a state of emergency. Over 2.5 million Nigerians in northeast Nigeria displaced.
Okay,
in
so
IDPs.
So when we have all these indices, as you have stated, now it is even though they've recorded some improvements in some aspects, but the killings are still going on. So, like, what is happening right now in the northern, Kaduna South region? What should the government do about it? Because we also have allegations that some of the military service chiefs are not doing enough, and a lot of them should be sacked. Those are some of the calls coming in. So do you agree with that, and do you think that's a solution?
Well, I don't think that is the solution. That may be part of it, but I don't think that is the solution. You serve military chiefs, and then other military chiefs comes in. I'm not a military person, but at least we can decipher from the situation what we can offer as a solution. First and foremost, I think we should, the military or dealing with Boko Haram, there are ways we can we can eradicate.
But you know that these are not even just Boko Haram alone. Now we're talking about both the insurgents like Boko Haram. We still have bandits. We still have different acts of communal clashes and killings that are going on. So it is even beyond just the Boko Haram challenge.
At the beginning, I said security is a global issue.
Yeah.
Bandits, stealing, clashes, community clashes, they can be handled differently. You understand? But I want to be specific about Boko Haram now before I talk about the other ones. Can I do that?
Okay, maybe yes, we can quickly do that.
Okay, first I think to really eradicate Boko Haram, number one is intelligence gathering. Okay. Intelligence gathering. We must be involved in intelligence gathering. First, we want to know Boko Haram, they eat, they sleep. Who are the people funding them? That is the first word. Somebody is funding them. These people, they use weapons that cost millions. So somebody, somewhere, is funding them. So I think the first thing to do is to gather intelligence, their hideouts, their funding, their the person funding them, their sponsors. Gather this intelligence. That's number. I think that will go a long way. By the time this is gathered, why is government not doing? I'm wondering if they can't do it. Let them employ collaborate with foreign governments or foreign military like the Israeli. They can come in and do the intelligence gathering for you and give you and come out with those who are perpetrating, who are funding these people. Okay. They buy weapons, they buy armories, they buy bombs, they have all these things. Who is funding them? I think intelligence gathering is number one. We need to gather intelligence. The same thing apply to our local disturbances and so on. We need to gather intelligence.
Okay.
Accurate data, information, facts, figures, and so on and so forth. Okay. Before we now know how to deal with them. Secondly, because Boko Haram is within the border of Niger, Chad, and to a large extent Cameroon, then why not collaborate with these countries? As you are fighting them, then you collaborate with them. They also should tighten their borders so that there's no way for them to run from Nigeria to Niger or to Chad or to Cameroon.
Okay. Because the government has also done some form of border checks to see to it that they don't have more of, let's use the word, some of these miscreants coming into the country to join.
My sister, your information is incorrect. It's absolutely incorrect. I don't know where you got that data from.
No, they have some border checks already going on.
Border checks. Where are the ammunition coming from?
That's the point you are making. That is to gather intelligence and track them down.
No, you said that they have done border checks. If they have done border checks, where are these things coming from? Our border checks is porous. I must even say, okay, let me digress a little. Do you know that even after the ban of importation of rice is still coming to Nigeria?
Definitely. That's it.
Very, very porous. And then, I mentioned one, intelligence gathering. Number two, collaborating with other countries. And then, number three, full military might should be enforced on Boko Haram. Okay. Full military might. It's a case of emergency. You don't send 400 soldiers, 200 soldiers, and 300 soldiers, and you feel that the war. Then once in a while you launch helicopter or you launch planes to drop bombs, and you do that within 1 week, and then it's all over. No. There must be full military might upon Boko Haram. If you do that, I'm sure Boko Haram will not last 1 month in Nigeria. And then another area we must also look at is the area of recruiting all these young people who are also joining Boko Haram. How many of them are joining? Because one is an avenue to feed them, to give them means of livelihood, because many Northern children, many of them in that area are not really educated. Because they are not educated, whatever comes to them, they take. Yeah. So, employment issue, illiteracy issue, and hunger issue, poverty issue, they are all there. So when somebody from Boko Haram initiates them, gives them offer, will give you so and so, they join willingly, and the same carrying guns. Okay, that is why, to a large extent, Boko Haram is still very much active. And lastly, the area we need to address is corruption. It says that How much have been expended in the fight against Boko Haram? What do we have now? I mean, how much have been expended? The money being used. I saw on video some of our military who are starving. They don't even have food to eat, and you are asking them to go and fight Boko Haram. Some of them don't even have bullets, ammunition to fight Boko Haram. You understand what I'm saying? I saw some of these videos. So, I mean, it's not fake news. They were there. We saw death. And so we even saw where the military and Nigerian army was ambushed by Boko Haram. And they collected some of their list. And those was running away because they didn't have the required ammunition to fight back. So we cannot do fight and retreat. The full military might must be enforced on Boko Haram.
Okay, sir.
Push them out.
All right.
Push them out. All lives matter. We cannot continue to fold our hands as if it doesn't really matter. I must also use the opportunity to commend the president. He's trying, but I think we should, like somebody rightly said, that the service chiefs should be sacked. Well, I'm not really advocating for that because I'm not a military person. I can't say they should be sacked or not to be sacked, but I think they should infuse more young blood, more brains, and gather intelligence to deal with Boko Haram. I'm sure if we do this, it's going to go a long way in coping the menace of Boko Haram. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, sir. We have some very valid information that you have shared with us, and that's very key. So what we intend to do right now is to see how we can get the necessary quarters to hear us and implement some of these solutions that you have proffered. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we are still talking about tackling the security challenges in Nigeria and how we can take advantage of what is on ground. So from what we have heard so far, callers that have called in and the different viewpoints that we have seen, it simply means that a lot more still needs to be done. Even though the government has done a lot, we still have a lot more to do. So we have that this shows additional proactive measures that must be taken, and some of them include boosting power supply in that region, and also that is a national issue really, but for them to do so well with tracking, like our last caller said, intelligence gathering and tracking some of these devices that are used, they need power supply. And we also have some points here that they need to offer financial assistance to citizens in that region so that no matter what comes like a bait to them, they can take their stand, and with the government, they can stick through some of the plans that the government has and carry out some of these plans. And we also have that they acknowledge that the military has done much to reduce the magnitude of violence in the region, because most of this violence started in the year 2009 when it broke out in the northeast. And up till now, the military has done a lot to bring the situation under control. But even with that, like we have said, a lot more needs to be done. One of our callers said a conference on security needs to be held. Another has to do with how education, employment has to be given a very, very like an emergency situation in that region so that more of them can have access to education and employment. And just like we have here where somebody is saying that offer them some form of financial assistance, then our last caller also saying that tracking some of these things because they need intelligence gathering. So in that region, it's not just about sending soldiers to go and fight when they don't have sufficient intelligence, so that they won't have different forms of funny stories to tell and you find them on YouTube and or other social media. No, we need the government to be more proactive, and like you said, even if it means collaborating with security, high standard security nations like Israel, the government should go ahead and do it and see to it that more intelligence is gathered. And the point was, who is sponsoring these people so that they can bring some of these sponsors to book. Then he also talked about collaborating with border nations like Chad, Cameroon, and the areas that have to do with different countries around there. They can also give more attention and the porous borders, even though we're making a point that the government has been doing that. A lot more needs to be done to reduce the porous nature of our borders. So every point that has been made here, government has to give a lot of attention to it. But in the southern Kaduna crisis, more and more of those conflicts, from what we have seen, maybe may stem from a lack of education, and the fact that a lot of them don't really have a very strong purpose for which they do some of these things, but they are swayed by maybe religious sentiments and different other sentiments that may come their way, maybe for community, protecting community borders and the rest. So we need a government to stand up to all of this, both at the state level, just like as we're saying that some state governors have relegated that function to the federal government, saying that, oh, because they don't control security apparatus like the police and the Nigerian army and other security agencies, so they don't have much to do. But we say no to that. Governments at the state level can do much because they are the ones in charge of the security of their states. So they have to see how to penetrate the grassroots, how to get into the different communities to resolve some of the key factors that are giving rise, as in the cause, to some of these issues. They can address them from that grassroots level. So we have a lot more we can talk about this. Maybe later in the week, we have an opportunity, we can still look more into the security system and what more the government should do. But most of these factors have been identified, and we believe that the government can do much more in improving the security system in northern Nigeria and every other part of Nigeria. So we'll look forward to you joining us tomorrow on Dialogue Box so that we can still talk our nation in the right direction. Thank you so much for being a part of our program today. I am Blossom, and I believe in the Nigerian dream. Before I go, don't forget to visit our website www.blossomnigeria.com and also our Facebook page. We are Blossom Nigeria on Facebook. So when you get there, you can always make your comments and give us what you think should be the way forward. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.